that I haven't watched yet.
Whoa. Which game is that?
It was the Raiders-Chargers game. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. It
Wow.
takes a while to watch all of these. One thing that I realized that I started doing about midway through, so usually what happens is I'll catch a couple live.
Yeah.
But most of the time, because this is the way you have to consume them, one, you can't watch 18 games at once.
No, you can't.
And they don't even show it to you that way. A lot of these games are out of market, and you can't watch them live. So I have the NFL Network on YouTube TV. I'll record the games, and then I'll go in, and I'll fast forward the commercials, and then I make it to the fourth quarter, and I'm out.
Right.
I don't need to watch.
You don't watch the fourth quarter of the first preseason game of the year?
Only a couple. If I'm recording the game and watching it, I'm watching it for a specific reason. If it's on like the Hall of Fame game, I'll sit there and just stare at the TV until it's done.
All right.
And so it's different for.
Can't believe you didn't watch the fourth quarter of the Detroit Lions preseason.
I can't believe I'm explaining why I don't do it. Like I need a good reason for it. For the Jags, I did because I wanted to see what Tebow looked like, and for the Bucks because I wanted to see Kyle Trask out there. But outside of that, I'm pretty much out in the fourth quarter. So I fast forward through, and then I get to the next game. Well, then I realized I've seen all these promotions for NFL Game Pass.
Yes.
You know what this is?
I do know what NFL Game Pass is.
So they're offering.
There's a reason I didn't get it.
There's and I'm about to get to that part. There's a 7-day free trial. So I signed up for that. And what you can do there is once these games have aired, they then go into their on-demand vehicle.
Right.
And you can watch them in condensed form. You can watch the entire game in 35 minutes without missing a play.
That's right. It's every play.
God.
It's every single play. There's no commercials. It pulls some of the commentary out. It is a beautiful thing. It really is.
Yes, it is. If you're just in this for the scouting of it like I am, this is a beautiful thing. Here's the problem. At the end of the week, when my 7 days are up on Saturday, they're going to charge me $100 for this.
Yes, sir, they are.
And I'm honestly debating whether or not I am going to keep my account alive or if I'm going to cancel it.
And that's
it's a real dilemma.
So the thing that made me not get NFL Game Pass is because if I'm going to pay that kind of money to watch games, I might as well get NFL Sunday Ticket and watch them live.
Yeah.
And that's what I ended up doing, was getting NFL Sunday Ticket instead. Now, granted, I had a special way that I got a little discount on NFL Sunday Ticket. So I didn't get the hard hit. What is it, like $300 that you got to pay for the season or something like that?
I just get the Red Zone channel.
Yeah.
It's a lot cheaper, $10.
But there was one year where I had Game Pass, and it was cool and everything, but I was still watching the game after it already happened.
No, it's not the same.
It's not the same.
The preseason's different because I'm watching the preseason because I'm a fantasy football addict.
Exactly.
Or for some of these guys that I just want to see how they look. Like Trey Lance to me has no fantasy impact for this year, but I'm curious to see what his play was like and all of those things. Kyle Trask, same thing. I want to see that stuff. But if they're going to give that to you in a 35-minute condensed form, I'm all for that. Is it worth $100? Because there's only 2 weeks of the preseason left, and it's not like I'm going to go back and watch recorded games in the regular season. So I think I'm going to cancel it.
Especially if you're watching Red Zone. Now, if you weren't watching Red Zone, then I can understand. Or if you Game Pass is more for one of those people that I have to work all day Sunday and I don't get to watch football. So this is my opportunity to come back after these games are over and see what the game looked like now that I've seen the score. Or for the complete, total, and irreprehensible addict that just says, I want to watch all of the games, so this is my opportunity to watch them all.
I think
you're almost there.
I think I might do
You're almost there.
You actually just talked me into it. Because now I'm picturing myself sitting there on Monday morning, having watch what they show me on Red Zone.
Right.
But you don't see everything.
Man, Monday shows just changed ever.
I'm going to watch it all. So here are my takeaways. Feel free to chime in on these as we roll through them. So there's a lot to break down. It's going to take all 3 hours to get to this, so bear with us. Jordan Love made his debut with the Green Bay Packers. I told you it was the thing I was most interested in.
Yes.
For the duration of the preseason, and ironically enough, that might be it for Jordan Love. He injured his shoulder. Kind of got caught up on a defensive lineman that was trying to sack him, and he was trying to throw the ball, and so he strained his shoulder. I thought before that happened, I thought he just looked okay. there really wasn't anything special about what he did. I could see the talent there. You can see why they drafted him, but in terms of what he was able to actually produce, now he's not throwing the ball to Davante Adams.
No, he's not.
So you have to take some of that with a grain of salt. But still, you can say that about a lot of these guys, and some flashed real potential. I didn't see anything in Jordan Love that made you go, whoa, when they're ready to turn the corner there, they really have something.
Yeah, the difference for me in Jordan Love, you mentioned that he's not thrown to Davante Adams. I wish I would have seen something that he did that made me say, if Davante Adams was in, that would have been XYZ, or that play would have been magnificent. But there was nothing there that made me say that about Jordan Love. He is just okay. I believe that he can elevate to being relatively good. And then it's going to be about what Green Bay wants to put around him as a relatively good quarterback. I definitely don't think he's a top 5 quarterback, top 10 quarterback whenever he does start. But, you know, there's a lot of teams that have done a lot with relatively good. So if he can show consistency and is relatively good and they can build around him, they may be able to do something. But I don't think Aaron Rodgers was ever really threatened by the fact that they had drafted Jordan Love.
Well, and he shouldn't be. He does have the benefit, and it's good because you're not seeing that yet from Jordan Love. Just because we're seeing this influx of, and we'll get to these guys, the dynamic quarterbacks that make these big splash plays. Justin Herbert did it last year. Joe Burrow did it last year. And it was part of the reason why we had so much negative stuff to say about Tua, because he didn't show you any of that.
Right.
There's still a path to be successful in the NFL without being that dynamic quarterback. It's about being efficient. It's about being cerebral. And for those guys, it's going to take a little bit more time for it to flash in you, for you to see it and say, that guy is great because he does this. If you can diagnose the defense better than the guy that can roll out of the pocket, then you've got an advantage that he doesn't.
That's right.
And you're great for that reason. Tom Brady's made a living off of it. Jordan Love has the benefit of actually being able to sit back. He looks okay. Might not see him for the rest of the preseason, but he's going to sit there and watch Aaron Rodgers for year number 2, and maybe he'll be better for it. Justin Fields was one of the guys I'm talking about. He was exactly what all of these quarterbacks that are making their way into the NFL are. They're dynamic, out of the gate, without a minute to spare.
Yes.
But he still made a lot of mistakes.
Oh, he made a ton of mistakes.
We're all focusing today on that beautiful throw to a wide open tight end, or when he rolled out of the pocket and ran for a touchdown. He made some dynamic plays. He also made some big mistakes. Shaquem Griffin, shout out to Shaquem, forced a fumble. A really dumb play from Justin Fields. So it was up and down. It was one of those where we're all going to sit here and go, well, he's got a big arm and he can run, so he's got to start over Andy Dalton. I'm telling you right now, unless he's more efficient early on when he gets out on the field, Andy Dalton's going to be the starting quarterback for the Bears day one, as frustrating as that's going to be for Bears fans.
And not only is Andy Dalton going to be the quarterback for the Bears, from what I saw in that first preseason game, he should be the quarterback for the Bears if the Bears are trying to make any semblance of this season. Now, if they've decided this is just Justin Fields' learner season, you know what I'm saying? Put him out there, let him learn, figure it out, and we'll develop him for this next season, then that's different. But if they're trying to win any games whatsoever and make a dent in their division at all, then Andy Dalton has to be the quarterback until he gives you a legitimate reason that he's not. What I saw from Justin Fields was he looked hurried, he looked out of place, he looked like he couldn't read the defense, and he looked like he was on skates for most of that first 5 to 10 minutes that he was in the game. Now, when the scrubs came in to play him on defense, he looked great. But when the starters were in there on defense, he looked very much out of place. Yeah. And I was actually kind of disappointed in him.
At first I was, and then he started to turn it on, and his statistics at the end of the day look good. I think we could be a little bit blinded by that. Andy Dalton, I believe, will start the season, but Justin Fields was still dynamic, and he has that ability that Andy Dalton just doesn't.
No.
He's going to be the starting quarterback, I'd say, by week 3. I think before I had it pegged for like week 4 for Justin Fields. I'm going to now shift it a week and go week 3.
I give Justin Fields he's still got one more preseason game. He's still got game number 3. He's not going to play in game number 2 for the most part. He'll probably play the second half. But he's still got some more to show in game number 3. And if he does that, and he's able to show that he can actually read these defenses and make some plays and not try to squeeze the ball in between 3 defenders, then I think he's got a chance to make it in week 3. If not, I'm looking more at like week 6 or 7.
So my biggest takeaway, I've got a bullet on all of these guys. And again, it's going to take us a few hours to get through this. But my biggest overall takeaway from what I watched over the weekend was that I feel uber comfortable doubling down on something I said right after the draft. I said each of these guys taken in the first round, all 5 of them are going to be good in the NFL. We always want to say, well, you just play the odds. One guy's going to be a bust or 2, that it's a 50-50 proposition. I really don't believe that with these guys. And I didn't think it coming out of the draft because of their talent and because of where they landed, either one or both. And for all of these players, I think they showed you in week 1 of the preseason, they're all going to be at least good. I'm not going to guarantee they're all going to be great. I think Trevor Lawrence will be great. But I think they're all at least going to make a positive impact on the teams that drafted them, from Lawrence to Wilson to Fields to Lance to Mac Jones. They're all going to be good, and they showed it over the weekend that I think they're all going to be at least productive for the teams that drafted them.
You forgot one very, very important person, Kyle Trask.
I was always a little lukewarm on him. He was a tough evaluation because he just threw the ball up to this generational tight end and it made Kyle Trask look great. I thought he was a little rough around the edges. He had some nice throws. He wasn't awful. You do have to take into account Kyle Trask, of all of these guys, was playing with the worst talent around him.
He was,
because he was playing into the fourth quarter. I was not impressed with what I saw from him.